Ahoy there mateys, Steve the Pirate here and welcome to the Crew 2 wheel settings for the Logitech G923 here on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So we need to go into game settings and you will see there on the right hand side we have wheel controls. If you don't see wheel controls, you probably need to unplug your wheel and plug it back in again or reboot the game. So for force feedback, I have that at full strength. For gearbox, you're best having this at sequential. Most of the cars, quite a few of the cars, not most of the cars, quite a few of the cars are going to have more than 6 gears. So your shifter, your 8 shifter is just not going to cut it. You can select the 8 shifter if you want to. You can even go 8 shifter with clutch. Completely up to you. Now the important part. For wheel range, I've got that at 480 degrees because of the car that I'm using. The faster the car, the smaller the wheel range. So the car that I'm currently using at the moment is the Mustang. It's alright, it's pretty decent at 480 degrees. I did check it at 600 and 660 and it wasn't as good as it could be. When checking the Maserati for the wheel range, that was driving the best at 360. So it's all going to depend on the car and you matching it to the car. Wheel range, I'd say if you're going to be using supercars, faster cars, probably look at 360 up to a maximum of 480. For the street racer cars, anything between 540 and 600. For off-roading, I'd probably look at 720. If you struggle at 720 and you find you're having to turn the wheel too much, obviously drop it down to 660 or 600. But that's the wheel range setup anyway. You're going to need to change it based on the car that you're driving. For now, I'm going to keep it at 540 and show you how it handles with the Mustang. For the settings, steering, I've got the preset at custom. Linearity, right in the middle. Dead zone, right at the bottom. Now for the highest, I've got that because the problem with the values is there's no numbers. You have no numbers at the right to denote the value of the input that you're putting in for the highest. The highest is 1, 2, 3 steps from the top. For throttle, I've got that preset custom, linearity right in the middle. Dead zone, I've got that 1 step from the bottom, from the lowest value. And the highest, I've got that all the way to the top. The reason for the dead zone being 1 step from the bottom is just in case your foot is resting on the throttle. That's it. You don't want any input when you don't want input, if you get what I mean. For the brakes, preset custom, linearity, I have that 4 steps from the top, dead zone right at the bottom, highest 6 steps from the top. Even though the G923 brake is so far improved from the G920 and G29 brake, I've still had to slightly adjust it. The brake, it still needs a fair bit of force, but it is better. It is better, but it still needs that force. So I have that 6 steps from the top. The clutch, the preset set to custom, linearity right in the middle, dead zone, I have that 2 steps from the bottom because I always rest my foot on the clutch. When I'm not left hand braking, my foot is resting on the clutch and I don't want to accidentally kick the clutch into action. Nope. So that is 2 steps from the bottom. For the highest, I have that 7 steps from the max value from the top, and that's just so the clutch is a little bit more responsive. That's so the clutch works better than I need it to. Works just as much as I need it to. That's probably the best way of saying that, Steve. And that is it. That is the wheel settings for the Logitech G923 here on the Crew 2 on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you with some footage of me driving the Mustang, and I might even switch to the Maserati, so stay tuned for that, just to show you me changing the wheel range for those. So here we go. I think I'm in. Yeah, I'm in it now. Oh! Secret button sequences that you need to know. Right, so to change the camera is L2 and R2 together. That will change your view. For the map, hold R2 and press the options button. That will bring up the map. While you're in the map, if you see there in the top right hand corner, it shows you how to navigate the map. So if you hold the brake down, you can move around using the D-pad. If you hold the accelerator down, you can rotate the camera. Pretty neat, huh? Nitrous is the cross button when you're driving. The e-brake is the square button. And that's about it. There's not many more secret buttons. Oh, if you want photo mode, hold R2 and press L3. I wish they had button mapping in this game, because there are so many buttons on the G923 for the PlayStation. It would have been great to have button mapping, but there's no button mapping. So there you go. You can open up, rewind, fast forward, rotate camera. So to rotate the camera, you put your foot down on the accelerator and you can rotate the camera. To move the camera, foot on brake, press the D-pad and you can move the camera. For some reason, the thingy is transparent. Never mind. But that's how to get camera mode. And they're all the shortcuts that I know so far. If I find any more, I'll put them in the comments down below. But they're the shortcuts that you're going to need. So, let's take this for a spin. This game is actually pretty good with a wheel. I'm not going to lie. This game actually rocks with a wheel. It's so good with a wheel. Cruising round US using your wheel. Why are they there? The force feedback leaves a little to be desired. It's a bit loose when you're driving. I mean, it's like that when you're driving for real anyway. The force feedback kicks in when you want to do a turn. I mean, let's e-brake it here. A little bit. It's not as strong as it could be. It is a bit loose. Changing gears, you feel it. Trying to get it to spin there, but it wouldn't happen. But the wheel rotation and everything, steering that around that bend, spot on at 540. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it to the Maserati. It's just fast. And you want that responsiveness. You want it to drive not like that. You want it to drive how you are turning the wheel, which is so much better now. At 540 there's like a slight delay in turning and the car's not as responsive, and it's to do with the speed of the car versus the speed of you turning it. So it's the linearity settings and it being a smaller degree of turn that's needed, the car's a lot more responsive. For drifting, before anybody asks, I recommend you turn it up to 720 in your drift cars. Only just made that. It's responsive as you need it to be. It's like the key binding, or going back to the key binding, for drifting, using the square button for the e-brake is an absolute freaking nightmare. But those are my wheel settings for the Crew 2 on PlayStation 4 using the Logitech G923. Such a good wheel, honestly. Massive improvement on the G29 and G920. Well worth upgrading to if you have the pennies. If you don't have the pennies, then obviously the G920 and the G29 will do. Both good wheels in their own right. I will say this is not being biased. I don't want to get into any console wars or anything, but I've noticed there's a lot of the racing games play a lot better with the Logitech G wheels on PlayStation than they do on Xbox. The G923 feels amazing with the Crew 2 in comparison to the G920. I know it's an updated wheel. The G920 on Xbox, it's just, I don't know what it is. But thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, play awesome.